99%. We are the 99%. We are the 99%. We are the 99%. We are the 99%.
I'm here to show support for people protesting Wall Street and capital greed and invading our politics. I'm here to support the 99% movement, and I'm here to observe to make sure no police brutality occurs.
160 cities, people are doing this, and they're not getting arrested for occupying their public spaces and having their freedom of speech and being able to express their grievances, which are supposed to be protected under our Constitution. There's a lot of local laws that have now overridden our Constitution. Right now we're waiting to see if the police choose to enforce the law that they said they're going to enforce today. They let us stay last night, but they made it clear it was only last night.
We are here to document the events that are occurring and to show support for the protesters that are in front of us.
I think we're just here in support of the idea of, peaceful assembly and the idea that they're in public space and are being asked to leave public space. And, it's public, and yet they're being told that they have to leave by a certain time, and we're here to support them.
I think it's important that we recognize that the reason why these movements are going on is to kind of stand up against corporate greed, the idea of business as usual. While some people, as we all struggle with cuts to our budgets, especially with our tuitions, there are people who are higher up who are still sitting pretty in their nice little mansions, driving their beautiful little cars, and they have no consideration for the people out here in the streets, in these movements. So I think it's us standing up against corporate greed and really kind of making a statement as citizens that we're tired of what's going on and kind of how corporations are so deeply tied with politics, and we just want a kind of showing of we want reform and things like that.
And I think it really demonstrates kind of a trend that's occurred in recent history of, taxpayers' money being used to bail out, these huge corporations that are being given continuous deregulation and inaction by the government. But I think the overarching reason for all of us, at least all of us here, to be here is to make sure that peaceful assembly can occur and that we, retain our rights. So.
Throughout history, there's critical masses, and we've reached a point again where people are frustrated and aren't feeling heard and aren't feeling like they're getting their fair share, or they don't feel like the earth is being treated correctly, or their neighbors and their other countries are being treated correctly, and so many different issues. And here in Santa Barbara, it's many different issues too, but our main one is solidarity with the Occupy Wall Street, and we also want to change our monetary system. We want a system based more on equality. No one should be allowed to buy their way in or out of politics. The poor should have just as much say as the man that has $1 billion.
I'm okay with paying taxes. I'm even okay with paying high taxes, but as long as I see them going back to my community and a positive outcome on the money that I'm paying. So it's not just going to some military funding or to something that I don't see any outcome on.
There's many different demands, but I think the main one is money out of politics. The banks are going to fail, let them fail. We have a redistribution of wealth. We have people getting out of college $30,000 in debt. They've got a degree and they still can't get a job. We have people losing their homes, foreclosing, people losing their pensions, teachers losing their pensions. It's just one thing after another, cutting social services, cutting things for disabled. I could go on and on and on and on. And it's crazy.
The financial aid offices at the UCs and the Cal States don't acknowledge that marginalized wealth isn't the same as mainstream white wealth. So when they say that if your family makes over this amount of money, you can pay for school and you don't get as much financial aid, your middle class is actually paid more. And they're paying more into a system, they're paying more for loans, and they're coming out of college with less to show for it. Jobs are scarce, and it's already hard to get jobs that have a minority. So all that stuff just builds up, and it actually erodes our people back as opposed to forward.
I think first of all, the way that us as students really see Wall Street manifested in our daily lives is through the privatization of our education. And that's essentially watching the UC become UC Incorporated. And really what that means is we are now facing, yet again, another 10.5% increase. And I think a lot of us are just saying enough is enough. I mean, it doesn't matter. I swear, just yesterday we were rallying against 32. We were rallying against another 8. and now we were rallying against another 6% trigger, and now we got another 10.5. And if you understand what that means, that essentially means that you're fucking paying over $12,000 to go to something that in the 1960s was promised to California as a free system. And that idea that us as students haven't even mobilized, because this affects all of us. And the fact that not all of us are out here just shows, I think, first of all, the lack of information that we have, and also the lack of belief in ourselves.